Holding the Siman Zayin, Seif Hey. So Mechaber says, Tvisha Nichnas Atech Habayis, a deer ran into a house, but no Echad B'Farnav Chayiv. And someone locked the door on the Tzvi, even though the Mishnah speaks out over here, even though he didn't make the deer go into the house. Mishnah speaks out over here, Nichnas Labayis, Me'elov. Went in by itself. So just the closing of the door itself is called Seder, because till now the deer could have ran back out through the door. They locked the closing the door. The closing of the door is a Ma'aseh Seder. Now, no Lushnayim, Turim. If two people close the door, then they're potter. This is the halacha of Shnayim Sha'asu. The reason why the Mechaber decided to bring it in over here is because the Mishnah in Shabbos, when it speaks about Seder, it speaks about Shnayim Sha'asu also. So the Mechaber is basically bringing down the Mishnah. So now Shnayim Turim, two people close it together, they're potter. The Ptur of Shnayim Sha'asu. What's the Ptur of Shnayim Sha'asu? If two people do something together, why are they potter? So the Mishnah brings down over here, Sifka and Chav Aleph, Pturim. Lichse v'im nefesh achas techta b'shkoga me'ama oretz ba'asoysa. V'dashina ba'asoysa ha'oysa es kula v'lo ya'oysa es miktsasa. When someone does the whole malacha, and now when someone does only half the malacha. So the Mishnah doesn't say a word about that it's a shinui, you're doing it not the regular way you do it. It doesn't say that. The Mishnah is mashma. I'm not getting into the whole sugi, I'm just pointing it out. But Shnayim Sha'asu is that the halacha is if it's a malacha that one person could do and two people do it, so the potter because ba'asaisa it's exeris hakosiv, one person does the malacha and not two people doing the same malacha.
Is this true of all Seder? So if I want to trap a bee, let's say, and I could do it with somebody else, we won't put the cup down.
Right, that's Shnayim Sha'asu. Yeah, that's not. If one person can do it, and both people do it,
any
malacha, turning on a light.
You're only two people with carbon, right?
Yeah, it's just Pturim. It doesn't say mutter. It doesn't say mutter. No, Pturim. Yeah, potter amalasa. But the bottom it's also
Not even
this is more than potter amalasa. This is you're still high, but you're still also midiraisa.
It's not so simple.
Yeah, Soisa is only getting you out of the carbon.
Yeah, not so simple.
Correct.
Yeah, not so simple.
But it's certainly not mutter.
Yeah, it's not mutter. It's not mutter. So, V'asaisa says two people do one malacha the potter. Now what comes out interesting is
but each one has to be individually be able to
do it. Yeah. So it says like this: Ein echad yachal l'noel v'noel l'shnayim chayavim. If one person cannot do it and two people could do it and they do it together, then they're chayiv. Yeah. Why are they chayiv? Because that malacha you need two people to do it. If you need two people to do it, so now it's not a malacha that one person can do because one person cannot do that malacha. So if two people do it, then they are chayiv. Mishnah says, the Magen Avraham says chayavim. Im echad ein yachal, ve'echad yachal. How about if one person can't do it and one person could do it? Hayachal chayiv, the one who could do it is chayiv. He's doing it by himself. Hasheni havim misayeya ve'ein by mamish u'pater. So here's an interesting concept, a very lomdish concept, that if two people do the same malacha and they both could do it, so then the potter, both potter. But if two people doing the malacha and one person can't do it himself, person A can't do it himself, and person B could do it himself, the halacha is that person B is chayiv, even though they're both doing it.
Yeah, well,
since person A cannot do it without person B, capable. We ignore him. We ignore the person who's not capable. It doesn't go into the Geder Ba'asoysa. If both people could do it, then you can't ignore any of the people. Why is one more important than the other? Therefore, they're both called doing it, and they're both potter. But if one person could do it and one person cannot do it, so we don't look at it as both of them are doing it. We look at it as only one person is doing it, and the other person is called a Messiah. He's a helper. A Messiah, by Mamish Messiah, we don't consider him as he's doing anything. So therefore, the person who could do it is chayiv.
what about if both of them are not capable of doing it by themselves, but only together they can do it?
It's a yeah.
So here's the interesting thing. The Baruch says, "Ein echad." Baruch on page Kuf Chav Zayin Amud Aleph. The V'maschal ein echad yachol. Even though a person has a lot of strength and he could be able to do it, he really could do it, but he's doing it in a way that he can't do it by himself. He's just using one finger, and with one finger he can't do it, so he needs help. So now, I need someone to help him. He's also called Ein Yachal and His Chayiv. So Ein Yachal doesn't mean that you physically cannot do it. The way you're doing it, you need help. So if the way you're doing it, you need help, you call it Ein Yachal, and therefore if you do it with somebody else who also can't do it by himself, both of you are Chayiv. It says the Ramah Hagar, Ve'im HaPesach Kvar Megufov. If the door's already closed, you're allowed to lock it with a lock. That means if it's closed and the tzvi is already captured inside the house, all you're doing is you're adding a shmirah, you're making a stronger shmirah. That's not called seder. Adding shmirah is not called seder, and therefore it is mutter.
And certainly if there's another opening in the house where you could get out, it's nothing what you've done.
It's not called seder, correct.
Right, or if you didn't know the deer or other animal was in there and you just shut the door, right?
If you didn't know the animal was in the shut the door, then what?
Well, you're not chayiv, are you, if you didn't know it was in there in the first place?
So why aren't you chayiv? Maybe it's a shoggi.
Oh, is it still a shoggi?
That's the Ramban.
So let's see. I'm asking you, is it a shoggi? If you didn't know there was an animal inside and you close the door.
It's a shoggi. It's not that you know.
It's not even a shoggi.
It's not even a shoggi if you didn't know it was in there at all.
The Ramban has a case of you sit down and block a door because you just stop.
Let's see the Be'er Lacha. Let's see the Be'er Lacha. Says the Be'er Lacha Chayiv. The one right before the one we just saw. Chayiv. Says the Be'er Lacha. V'dafka kishayoda ba'eis han'ila, when he knew, when he closed the door, shesvi b'soichai, that there's a deer inside. Avalam achakach noideloi sheyesham tzvi. If afterwards he finds that there's a tzvi potter, he's potter. Why is he potter? Why isn't he regular shoggi? Says the Be'alacha, the Zed Doim the Schaven like Bia Tolish, the Chatach Mechuber, the Onesu. Meaning, the halacha is if someone wants to cut, picks up a piece of grass, he thinks the piece of grass is detached, it's already cut. In the meantime, it's attached to the ground, and he ends up ripping it out of the ground. That's called a misasek. Misasek means it's not a shogig, it's less than a shogig. Shogig means the case of shogig is you forgot that it's Shabbos, or you forgot that this malach is asur. That's a shogig. But if it's none of them, you knew it's Shabbos and you knew Tzeder is asur, but you didn't know this is a Tzeder. So when you're closing the door, you had no idea there's a tzvi inside. So there, the halacha is that the Ramban says it's pater legamri. You can't say mutter because you don't know, right? Yeah, mutter. Yeah, you can't say mutter. You don't know. Yeah. So now, essentially, we had 2 weeks ago, or whatever it was, when you're closing the box with the bees. Right now, you send away the bees. You're not sure if there's any bee left inside. So the question is, are you allowed to close it or not? You're allowed to close it.
But you knew there were bees.
Oh, so there it's different. There you have a chashash.
Right.
That maybe there's a bee inside. That's different. Here we're talking about you have no reason to believe that there's a deer in the room, and you end up and you close the door. There you call.
Every time you close any door, and then
you have to check.
You have to check.
Right.
How do we delineate between misasek and dovshin and miskaven?
What do you mean?
Well, the case here is we're saying he's potter because it's misasek.
Dovshin and miskaven, you know what may happen.
The case that
you know what you're
Rabbi
doing.
Just gave you're pulling something that you thought was not attached.
Right.
So that's a case of misasek.
Right. So what miskaven is that you know you know that you may make the charetz. You're not sure. You're super. That's any schar. You have a mind to do it, but it's possible it'll be done. It's a different case. It's possible it'll be done. You're stopping the bench.
Possibility.
Yeah.
Okay, here.
So it says, the Bialocha says weiter. So zegt daarom de schaam like bij het hout gaat er groepen de alles toe, afvullen met schaven achtergraag. Shloif twee gedeeld, aan de erbe Shabbat Tzvi, kam geen een is bedover. So it says a chiddush. If even afterwards, now you know there's a tzvi inside, and you keep the door shut in order to keep the deer trapped inside the room. Are you allowed to do that? No. Now you got to open the door. And the halacha is, that's even more. You sit down in front of a door. You don't know there's a deer inside the room. Then you find out there's a deer inside the room. Now you had a mind to get up and to go daven mincha. But now, there's a deer inside the room. You want to stay till after Shabbos. Are you allowed to stay there till after Shabbos?
And miss mincha?
Bad example. Are you allowed to stay? The minute will come to you. Are you allowed to stay there till after Shabbos?
Yes. So hurry, yes.
So the Bishop Bruce says, the Baruch says, you're allowed to stay there till after Shabbos.
Because at the time you sat down, you're not doing anything wrong.
Now, the question is, if you look at the next, I want to skip a second. I want to look at the Bialocha. Yoshav Echad Al Pesach. It's the next Seif, but we can see it now. Yoshav Echad Al Pesach. This is the Pakti. Yoshav Al Pesach, B'shigig Al Shabbos, B'shigig Al Malacha. He knew there was a deer inside. He forgot it was Shabbos, or he forgot that it's also to trap a deer on Shabbos. And then he knows there's a deer inside. Then he remembers it means that it's Shabbos, or he remembers that it's also to do Tzeder on Shabbos. Could he do it or not? What's the difference?
It does a meiser.
So here he sat down by the door. He knew there was a deer inside, but he forgot it was Shabbos. Then he remembers, it's Shabbos. So what's the halacha here? Does he have to move?
At the outside, it's a show gig.
So does he have to move or can I stay there? Is he allowed to stay there until after Shabbos?
Well, it could be a Kal V'chomer if he's allowed to do it in the other, stay there in the other situation. Kal V'chomer.
No.
No, other situation he didn't know there was a deer in the room before.
Right. That's the difference.
The first Bialocha was he didn't know there was a deer in the room. He sat by the door. There he said he's allowed to stay until after Shabbos. Here we're saying, as a question, I'm shigig at Shabbos. I forgot that it was Shabbos.
You knew there was a deer though.
I knew there was a deer and I sat by the door. Now, do I have to leave or not?
Yes.
So the klal is, the halacha is, there's really two issues over here. One issue is that you did a Ma'aseh Shabbos. Here, it's called you did a Ma'aseh Shabbos. You did a Ma'aseh of Seder. You weren't a Mesasek, you knew there was a deer inside. You're not allowed to have a knife for Ma'aseh Shabbos. If you by mistake cook something on Shabbos, you're not going to use it.
Yeah.
So here also, says the Bialocha, here's the suffix. The Ma'aseh Hava, whatever happened, happened. It's not going to help take it away. He says the Ramban and the Rashba that I brought before, I said it's mutter to continue sitting there. The heter of the Peshalei Omar, Isser, the Araisa, V'ma, Shayosha, Metchila. The reason why you're allowed to continue sitting there in the first Bialocha is because I didn't do any Ma'aseh Isser. Sitting there, not knowing there's a deer in the room, says the Bialocha is not called a Ma'aseh Isser at all. I didn't do a Ma'aseh Isser. Mashma de binyanenu aser leishav kishanoi dalai. Now when you find out there's a deer inside, now when you remember that it's Shabbos, you have to stand up and go away. What's the difference? In the first case, I didn't know there was a deer, so I didn't do any Ma'aseh Seder. Sitting down by a door is called a Mesasek Ba'alma, and therefore it's not called a Ma'aseh Seder. Even though both of them you ended up capturing. A Mesasek is not called your Ma'aseh Seder. If it's a Shoigig of Shabbos, you did a trapping, you did an Issa on Shabbos, you were a Shoigig. Therefore you have to let it go. Now if you go back, let's jump back to the Bialocha before. I know I'm making you look crazy back and forth.
But that's assuming you're getting hana from the deer being in your house.
Yeah, you want the deer.
Oh,
Yeah, you want the deer. Yeah, you want the deer.
Let's say you didn't want the deer.
Yeah, so they can send them out. You can send them anyway. Go.
But let's say you didn't want the deer. Would you still be able to stay seated?
That'd be a question of
why would you sit?
Nikolai or yeah. That'd be a whole question if you don't want it. But don't hear that you want the deer. If you go back to the Bialach that we started before, he says, why? Because very important words of the Bialach. What does it mean? Kadma Seder L'Machshava. Kadma Seder L'Machshava means that the Seder came before I knew that there was a Seder.
Yeah.
Therefore, it's not called a Seder at all. If I know I'm doing a Ma'aseh Seder, I'm a Shoygeg, then you did a Ma'aseh Seder, you're Shoygeg, you have to get rid of it. If I didn't know B'chlal that I'm doing a Ma'aseh Seder, says the Bi'alacha, he brings that from the Ramban, the Rashba, there, what I'm doing now is not called a Ma'aseh Seder. It's not called capturing. If you don't know, it's not called capturing. And therefore it is mutter.
So what he's saying is, it's not that the Ma'aseh Seder Kadma L'Machshava, there is no Ma'aseh Seder.
Yeah, that's what it means. That's what it means. Seder Kadma L'Machshava means there is no Seder.
Right, by definition.
There is no Seder, yeah.
What about the swinging like glass doors that you're coming home from shul? You're not even close the door, you just let go, and because it's like a spring lock, it automatically closes itself.
So it's called Ma'aseh Seder.
Yeah.
What's the question? And then there's something ran into the house?
Yes, something ran into the house. You know?
Would you have to stand there to open that? With something else?
That's the question. Probably to Goma Ba'alma, probably. You call that a Ma'aseh Seder.
And then if you're secret, you know it's going to close.
It's not the Psikration. The question if you're doing it. It's definitely Psikration. The question is if it's called that. Yeah, the question is it's called that you're doing it. I opened the door. The door was closing. If you look at a Lamdush, the door was closed the whole time. It's on a spring, so the door was really closed the whole time. You opened to get in, you didn't open the door. The door was never called opened. The door was never considered opened.
How did that animal get in there?
What?
How did that animal get in there if it never opened?
I mean, you let it in. Yeah. I don't know. Interesting question. Not sure.
And before we go further, this concept of Shnayim Shabbos.
So yeah.
Again, this problem of hotels, where you have the card that goes into the door, right? If two people put the card in the door, would that be better?
Yeah, definitely better. But it's still part-time loss.
It's still loss.
I'll tell you even more. The person can say that Lav Dafka Shnayim Shasu, two people do it. How about if I do with two hands? I can do something with one hand. I take two hands, I do two hands. Is that mutter or not? Is that mutter or not? The reason why I told you...
Well, they seem to differentiate when the guy did it with just the pinky.
Yeah, but that's because with the pinky he can't do it by himself. But if you put it in with one hand, you can do it with one, I do it with two hands. So that's why I stressed before, I don't want to get into the whole sugya now, that's why I stressed before that the Mishmur says the reason why it's mutter, but it's not chayav by Shnayim Shasu, is because it's a ma'aseh that one person does, and two people are doing it. Gzeres HaKasav that ba'asaisa. Ba'asaisa means when I do it, not when both of us do it. It's nothing to do with the shinui. It has nothing to do with the shinui. It has to do that a thing that one person can do and two people do it. That's not called we did the ma'aseh. Ba'asaisa, one person does it. If you need two people to do it, so then that's the way you do that ma'aseh. Now, by me doing it with two hands, what's happening? Is that a chasar in the ba'aseh? Is there anybody else doing it with me? No. I'm doing it myself. I'm doing it myself, right? So one hand is helping the other hand? No. We know our body is one thing, right? It is about size. I'm doing it myself. If you say that the Shnayim Shasu goes into the category of Shinui, that one person does it, could do it, two people do it, it's not the way you do the malacha, then you're right. If you have two hands, then you could say the same thing about Saisa, that it's not the way the malacha is done. But it's not so simple. That's the reason why. There are certain poskim that say that you could use two hands, and it also it adds to the kula. That's not chayiv. But not everyone agrees to it.
If you want to say that, why couldn't you extend that and say if you could use two eyes? You could do the thing with just one eye. So now that you're using two eyes.
What do you mean?
To do a malacha, to see what you're doing.
It's a shinu, you mean?
Yeah.
It's not shinu, the malacha. Shinu, the malacha is how you're doing the malacha. How you see it is how
You're not doing the malacha.
Doesn't change the malacha itself.
Yeah.
Doesn't change the malacha itself.
And according to those poskim, would it be
unless you're a
still
magician?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely part of Avalasa. There's no heter to do it. It's a tziruf, maybe it's a rabbanon, maybe electricity, and it's a grama, you know. They have tzirufim.
Rabbanon already.
Yeah, if you have tzirufim.
Maybe it makes
sense. You have tzirufim, but to rely on that is very hard. To rely on that by ourselves is very hard. The best heter you have today is the guy does it for you. If you do it yourself, it's very, very hard.
But there again, you have to ask the guy before Shabbos.
If you ask the guy, even ask the guy on Shabbos is a trade. The rabbanon maybe even bakum tzerich, you can be making that way. But for you yourself to do it, it's much harder to get a heter on that. Much harder. So, but that would be an afkamina. How you learn the basaisa? Basaisa is a gzeres hakosov that a malacha that one person could do only when one person does it is chayiv. So two hands is not going to be any heter. But if you hold it's a din in the shinui, that's not the way you do the malacha, so therefore it's not chayiv, then the same thing will happen with two hands. It's not the way you do the malacha, so there'll be a heter for that also. A potter avalacha.
But you can also say that a saisa is coming to teach you a different thing. Saisa is for a carbon. Whether a malacha is going to be, in other words, it's nothing to do with the carbon at the end. That's not Shabbos, in other words, that's how it's done.
Some are trying to say that the whole Basaisa is only taking care of the carbon, it's their right to do it.
Correct.
But we don't go that way. We hold it's their right. It's not chayiv, it's potter. We're going that it's not chayiv. If you potter from a carbon, you are chayiv. But you don't bring a carbon. Also with their right. Perhaps we go that it's potter avalasa, it's a their right. Okay, Sivav. Hope that I'm still the Morgan Avram. Yashav Echad ala Pesach. If someone was sitting by a doorway, Umalu, and he filled up the whole doorway, he blocked it, then Yachal Hashem Yeleshe B'tzidoi, another person could sit next to him, as we'll see soon, either in front or in back, because the first one's filling up the whole doorway. Fa'afilu Amad Rishain v'Halach Loi. Hasheni, Potter, or Mutter, Varishain, Chayiv. Even if the first one leaves and now the second one is blocking the doorway, so he basically is capturing the animal that's inside. The Sheni is Potter or Mutter, he doesn't have to leave. Varishain, Chayiv. Now, there's a big machlokes over here what the case is. So we'll say it to Mahachim first outside, then we'll see the Magen Avram, the Shmura inside. The Taisus Yantov says, famous Taisus Yantov over here, and he says, what's the case? One person is sitting by the doorway, and the other person either is sitting in front of him or behind him. Now, if the other person is sitting behind him, right, the first person sitting behind him means the second person had to jump over the first guy to sit in the doorway. Simple Taisus Yantov learns that what it means is the first guy is sitting closer in, and the second guy is sitting on the outside. The first one leaves means he goes into the room, and he's in the room now, he's staying in the room. But if the first one stands up for a second, and the second one comes now and fills the doorway, says the Taisus Yamtiv, when the first person stands up and he leaves, there's no seder anymore. It's open, the deer could leave. When the second one comes, sits down, he's doing another Ma'aseh Seder. He's doing a new Seder. So therefore, the Taisus Yamtiv learns the case over here, Yashav Echad ala Pesach and Malo, Yachal Hashem Leisha B'tzidoi, says the Taisus Yamtiv means right behind him. Hafilm Amad Arishan V'halach, when he went into the room, Hasheni Potter the Mutter Arishan Chayev. Why? Because the Sheni is not doing anything. He sits down by the door, and when I'm saying that, I'm choosing my words. We'll see soon. The second person sits down by the door, he didn't do anything. Why? Because the animal's captured. When the first person stands up and leaves, what's the Sheni doing? Nothing. He's not doing any Maisa. He's still sitting in the place. He didn't do any ma'aseh tzedakah to the second person. He's just sitting in his place. When he sits there originally, the animal was captured. When the first person leaves, and now he's the one capturing the animal, he did not do any ma'aseh tzedakah.
Even though he's sitting down to get the other guy to go away.
Doesn't make a difference. As long as when he sat down, the first guy was there, the other guy left, even though he has in mind the first guy should leave, it doesn't make a difference. If you look in the Magen Avraham, Kosav HaToysis Yomtiv, Sheholach L'Toich HaBayis, he went into the house. The Eloi Tema Hachi, if you're not going to say that, Heich Efsher Sha'asheni Yimal Le'Mekoyim B'Shal Rishon, B'Bli Teis Tchila Mokaponui. How's it possible for the first guy to leave without the second guy, without it being open for a period of time for the first guy to leave? Me'en Yeshiv, Oet HaTzvi Einen Nitzoid, V'nimtze K'Sha'asheni Choyzir Mamal HaPesach Hutzoidoi V'chayev. Elo K'Deprecious Atkan L'Shainoi. It must be like I said, says Chesed Yom Tov, that the first guy was sitting there, and the second guy came behind him, and the first guy went into the room, and the second guy stayed sitting by the door. That's what he says.
If you are particular about the lashon of the mechaber, B'tzida normally means beside him. Otherwise,
yeah, not behind him. Yeah. So the Magen Avraham can't be b'tzidoi. Can't be b'tzidoi because the b'tzidoi has it happened, and that means it wasn't full. The doorway wasn't full. Now, I want to speak something an interesting shaila in the Toysis Yomtiv. We'll get to the Magen Avraham in a second. But I have a very simple way of taking care of this Toysis Yomtiv's problem. What's this problem? The first guy is going to stand up and walk away, and the second guy is going to come for a second. The doorway is open. A very simple answer. Let the first guy stay there, the second guy come behind him, and let them maneuver together, turn around together. The first guy will leave, and there was never a second that the doorway was open. Very simple answer to Toysis Yomtiv's kasha.
So, that wouldn't be a problem.
What? The Toysis says it must be that the Rishon went into the room. Because otherwise you have no case. How is it possible the Rishon leaves and the second guy, Sheni, comes? So for a second the doorway was open.
The Toysis Yomtiv would agree to your scenario.
So why did the Toysis Yomtiv say it must be the first person who went in to the room? That's what he says. It must be the first person.
Maybe he feels that if the first guy that is doing Seder has a part in switching the Seder to somebody else, maybe he can transfer his Seder to him.
How do you transfer it? When he leaves, when the first person leaves?
When you turn around,
yeah,
right, then two people are doing something one person can't do, because they're both half blocking the door. Maybe that's when the second one becomes chayav.
Why does it become chayav? There was never no tzed anymore. So it says
if the second guy wasn't there, then the door would be half open.
Right. But the animal was never not captured. There was never a moment of time that the animal wasn't captured. Right? There was never a moment of time the animal wasn't captured. They turned around together, so the animal was captured the whole time.
Okay, but then that I think the Toysis Yomtiv doesn't address it, because that's cautious.
Right. So what?
There was never a second.
He would agree that. He
would agree 100%.
He would agree that that's also mutter and no problem.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. I think it's not true.
But okay, it was a trap.
I'll tell you why. Because it's a very simple answer. If you look in the he has a case, he's bothered. What's the case? How's it possible? The first guy leaves, the second guy comes. It's impossible. You leave it open. It must be the first guy went into the house. Why does it say a very simple thing that they switched? They sat together and they switched, and it was never open to begin with. So I think Pshat Toysis Yomtiv is he holds that even if the second guy sits there, and they turn around, there was never a second that it was opened. Toysis Yomtiv is also going to hold the second guy is chayav. Why? Because now he's doing a ma'aseh. He's doing something. As the first guy is leaving, the second guy is taking over his place and doing something. He's turning around with him, and now he's sitting and blocking the doorway. He's doing a ma'aseh. I don't think the Toysis Yomtiv's problem is that it's open, and therefore the second guy is coming in, and now he's doing a Ma'aseh Seder. But if it wouldn't be open for a second, there wouldn't be a problem. His problem is that the second guy, if he's doing a Ma'aseh, he's doing something, he's turning around with the first guy. Now, what he's doing is he's taking over the Ma'aseh of the Rishon. He's doing something. But if the first guy is sitting there and he walks in, and the second guy just sat in his place and didn't do anything, then he didn't do anything. What are you mechayev me for? You're right, I'm taking over the Seder of the Rishon, but I didn't do a Ma'aseh. I didn't do a Ma'aseh. Very fine difference.
I don't hear
Very fine difference. Is the problem with Yom Tov that you're doing a Ma'aseh? I'm taking over. But if the first guy is sitting there, he walks into the room, the second guy didn't do anything, he just sat there. But if he does something, then he's chayiv. Well, his problem is that no, as long as it's not open for a second, then there's no new tzeder. There's no new tzeder.
I think you have to make a distinction between Maisa and Maisa Tzeder.
Yeah.
In the Rebbe's example, yes, he's doing a Maisa, but he's not doing a Maisa Tzeder.
He is. He's taking over the tzeder.
But it was already getzeded.
Yeah, but I'm taking it over. But I'm taking it over. But now I'm taking it over.
With a Ma'aseh.
With a Ma'aseh.
But that's like adding another. That's another. We just said that we don't anything that adds shimur.
Right.
There's always a shimur there.
No, I'm not adding shimur.
Replacing
shimur. I'm not adding. I'm replacing him. I'm taking him over. I'm replacing him.
Okay. What would you say if in the very first case, if the first guy got up and went into the house, and the second guy, who right now is not hired, he turns around and switches his position, so he's facing into the house.
Doesn't make a difference. The second the first guy walked away,
he does it kind of at the same time. He gets up, walks away, the other guy switches. They didn't do the switch around like you're describing with the...
So I'm not called the Ma'aseh. I don't know if that's called the Ma'aseh because it was blocked anyway the whole time. I don't know if that's called a Ma'aseh. But
doesn't Kavanah come into it? Like the second guy sits down and
it has Kavanah. It has Kavanah.
When the other guy leaves, he says, "I'm taking over for you."
Right.
Then
we didn't do a Ma'aseh. We know the second guy's coming because the first guy wants to leave. That's for sure.
Okay.
Still, Mechaber says he's possible.
He
came. He sat there bedafka because he knows the first guy. Taking over the shift.
Yeah.
First guy wants to leave, but the Mechaber says it's possible because he's not doing a Ma'aseh Seder. So there's two ways to learn the Mechaber. Even in Yom Tov, either because he didn't do anything, he hasn't done anything, he's just sitting in his place, or no, not because he hasn't done anything, because there's no new tzeder. The animal was never at a time that there was no tzeder. The difference is if they move together and they switch around. That will be a difference. If you look in the So if you look in the Mishnah Berurah over here, he says, Sif Kar Chav Hey, Holachloi, he goes to the Tesis Yom Tov. We pass on the Tesis Yom Tov. Umayri shebe'eisha holach harishayin leizaz hasheni memkaimoi klal. He didn't move at all. Now those words are pretty strong. It's very specific. Umayri. Why is Mr. Berurah saying that for? He didn't move at all. From these words is mashma that the reason why he's mutter because he's not doing any ma'isa. But if he's going to move, he'll be chayiv.
A little bit,
yeah, he moves, then he'll be chayiv. בפנים הבית הראשון יושב בתוך החלל הפסח לחוץ ונצח שהולך הראשון נשאר הוא על מקומו ועל כן מותר לו לכתחילה להישב אשר תחשך אף שהוא מסכוון בשביל הצבי even though he's doing it בכוונה because of the tzvi still it's mutter כיוון אין עושה מעשה מחדש he's not doing any new מעשה אלא שומר לצבי שכבר ניצד. He's watching the tzvi that was already captured. Good? That's what he says. So the way I see from the Mishnah over here, the Taisus Yom Tov holds, the Mishnah is learning, the reason why the second person can sit there is because he's not doing any Maisa at all. Not doing anything. But if you do something, for example, that would switch around, then maybe the Taisus Yom Tov holds it's awesome.
It's a Maisa.
Yeah. Let's see the Magen Avraham now. I'm speaking this out for a reason. I'm headed somewhere. So the Magen Avraham says, V'tema. Right after we saw Ibn Chazamtiv, it says, Atchan l'shayna v'tema. The auto misha yesh leitan negoylis b'teich beisai. Someone has a chicken in his house. V'niftechu ha-pesach. Ye aser l'soismoi. They aser him to close the door. El ha-karchach kimin shu nitzet kvar shari hachanami kain. Same thing over here. What's the Magen Avraham saying? If you have a chicken in your house, you open the door. I can't close the door. Why not? It's already captured. And it's a pel on the Magen Avraham. What do you mean it's already captured? Second you open the door, it's not captured anymore. It can run out.
Yeah.
The Magen Avraham says the first person can stand up and leave. The second person can come and sit down. Even though there was a second that the animal could have ran out, says the Magen Avraham, once it was captured, you can't capture it a second time. And the obvious question is, what do you mean? I took away the capturing. I opened the door. The animal could leave.
It's a new mice.
So it's a new mice of capturing. Right. So what's the Magen Avraham saying? Right? It's a pel on the Magen Avraham.
No. This is what's driving me crazy here. The kibon she'eno isim ma'asim echodesh, is that going on the ma'asit seder or on the individual? It's a little bit of a brisker lumdish, but lumdis. Is it going on the ma'asit seder or is it going on the individual? Because the fact of the matter is, the ma'asit seder never stopped. The fact that the second person comes in.
Why did it stop? The second, when there was a minute, a few seconds, the first guy left. The second guy wasn't there yet. There was an open door. There was an open door. So the ma'asit seder was nullified at that point.
Right.
Interrupted.
And then you have a new act.
And then you have a new act. So the Magen Avraham, the way it says it in the Chayr, is very hard to understand. Why is that called that it's already nitzai, so now the second guy can't capture it again? He took away, he interrupted the Seder. So the obvious answer to the Magen Avraham is the Chalkat Zyoyev, the Shabbos Shabbos Sefer. He explains the Magen Avraham with a beautiful pshat. And he said the Magen Avraham, of course, is not talking about that when you open the door, the tree could run out. When you open the door, there's a tarnagel in the house, right? And you see the tarnagel, the chickens come running towards the door. What are you going to do? You're going to close the door again, right? It never became untrapped. Oh. You always had it under your control. Right. You always had it under your control. Even though the first person left for a second, and the second person is coming, there was never a time the animal could have escaped. Right? So now...
Yeah, there's going to be a time come on. If the deer ran upstairs, you open the door now, it's not going to be
untrapped. Right? So when the deer runs into the house the first time, and now I close the door, now I'm trapping the deer. The first time I close the door, it's called trapping the deer. But in the case where the deer is in there, the door is closed, you open the door second, and then you're closing it. Says the Magen Avraham, you have a chicken in your house, every time you open and close the door, you chayav on seder? Of course not. If I open the door, the chicken can't get out of the house because I'm standing there, and if it comes there, I'm going to send it back in or close the door. I didn't take it out of its captured state. It's still considered captured. Says the Chalka Sefer, that's trying the Magen Avraham, that you didn't undo the first Seder. Beautiful shot in the Magen Avraham. Right? Mm-hmm. So that's trying the Magen Avraham. But the question is, so what is the Taisus Yom Tov hold then? Is it called that I'm undoing the Ma'aser Seder? What's the Taisus Yom Tov going to hold? He agrees that if the first person walks away for a second, the animal can't escape. So why does the Taisus Yom Tov hold that it's called, when the second guy comes, it's called the Ma'aser Seder? So the answer is, Taisus Yom Tov holds, of course, you open the door for a second, it's not undone the Seder. By me replacing the first person, I am taking over his Seder, and now I'm capturing the animal. For example, a guy has a leash, he's holding an animal. He wasn't allowed to capture the animal on Shabbos. So what I do, I take the leash and I give it over to somebody else. Is the second person chayav on Seder now or not?
Sure.
Take the leash, I give it over to somebody else.
Yeah.
The second person chayav because of Seder.
But it's not Seder, he's already captured.
Yeah, but I'm taking it over now. If I leave go of the animal, it's not captured anymore. Now I give it over to my friend to hold the animal. So the second person chayav and Seder or not?
He's finishing the job.
The second person now, he's doing a new Seder. The first person gave over his Seder to the second person.
It's the same case as the two people in front of the door.
Right. So Taisis Yom Tov would hold that when I'm replacing, I'm coming into the doorway and I'm replacing you, I'm doing a Ma'aser Seder now.
And you hand me the leash.
Right.
If you drop the leash, if I'm holding the leash and you grab it,
right.
When you grab the leash, you're doing nothing.
I'm replacing the Seder. I'm taking over your Ma'aser Seder.
No, he's still holding it.
Yeah, but you're giving it over to me.
But if it's the same with the doorway. If one guy's really sitting there and then the guy leaves, it's fine.
No, Taisis Yom Tov holds not fine.
If one guy's sitting there and the other guy leaves, it's fine.
Because I didn't do a Ma'aser. That's what I'm trying to say.
But even with holding the leash, I'm just holding a leash.
No, you're doing a Ma'aser. You're taking the leash, you're doing a Ma'aser.
I'm holding a leash that you're already holding.
Okay, so you're saying it's not called a Ma'aser. Okay. So you're saying it's not even called a Ma'aser. Okay. You're saying it's not even called a Ma'aser. Let's say I hand it to you and you take it.
No, they are holding it together.
Give me a second when
That's a Ma'aser.
That's considered a Ma'aser. You're doing something. You're taking the leash from me. You're doing a Ma'aser.
Well, when I'm sitting down, I'm doing a Ma'aser, even though someone's holding sleep behind me.
Right. When you're sitting down, but then it was already captured. When the first guy leaves,
holding the leash, I've captured it, right? When you grab the leash, it's not doing anything.
Because that's like a big opinion. The minute I
it's
give
not called a Ma'aser. Okay, we can debate about that.
Good example.
We can debate about that.
It's domesticated animals.
No, we're talking about not domesticated. You want to tell me it's not called a Ma'aser, so fine. Okay, it could be. We can debate that. I was trying to bring out a point. Let's say it's called a Ma'aser. Taisis Yom Tov would hold that even though there was no time that the animal was not considered captured, by me replacing the first person with a Ma'aser, I'm chayav. That's what he holds. If I'm doing a Ma'aser of replacement, then I'm chayav for Seder. If I'm sitting there and I'm not doing anything, then there's no Ma'aser Seder. I'm not doing anything. The first guy walks away, I didn't do anything.
The animal is afraid to come out.
The Magen Avram holds that replacing is not called Seder. First guy leaves and I come in and I sit down and I'm replacing him, that's not called a Ma'aser Seder.
Even if it's a Ma'aser.
Even if it's a Ma'aser.
So the nafkamina between the
that's what come out
is going to be totally a Ma'aser.
Correct.
So replacement would be
correct.
According to the
that's what should come out. Otherwise, hard to understand. The Magen Avram, the Seder Magen Avram means that the Seder was over and now a new Seder happens. How can that be chayav? Elamai have to learn Magen Avram like the Seif learns that the Seder never was undone. It was always there. I'm just replacing. Says the Magen Avram, replacing is not called a Ma'aser Seder. Says the Taisis Yom Tov, it is called a Ma'aser Seder. That's what should come out. The reason why I'm so myrich in this is because I've seen Paiskim today that write and they say that if you open the door and you're blocking the doorway in a way the animal cannot leave, right? And then you close the door, so there everyone agrees it's not called a Ma'aser Seder. I don't know if that's true. According to Taisis Yom Tov, it's called a Ma'aser Seder. They're learning the machlokes the Magen Avram and Taisis Yom Tov is if you undid the Seder and you're redoing it, the Magen Avram holds is redoing it is not called a Ma'aser Seder, which is a shikul apella. How can the Magen Avram that way? If you undid it, the Magen Avram should say that redoing it is not called a Ma'aser Seder. That's not what the Magen Avram means. He means you never undid the Ma'aser Seder. So Taisis Yom Tov is arguing even on that. He goes, even if you never undid the Ma'aser Seder, still it will be asur. Fine. Says the Magen Avram weiter. Think about it. So the Magen Avram says,
does this have implications beyond Seder? I mean,
for example,
well, just this idea that you have to, in order for you to do something, you have to do something, as opposed to. So, for example, I mean, just something comes up. Let's say a gang of people are killing somebody, right? But it's only one person who kills them, and the other people are just watching. They're not doing anything.
No. That's not. You can save somebody and you don't save him. It's not a Ma'aser. It's not a Ma'aser. Yeah,
so you're not. So those would not be accomplices to the murder.
No. Even though they could stop him. They're not chayav. They didn't do a Ma'aser. if they stop,
if they also stabbed as well.
No, even more. If someone's running after somebody to kill him, and you block the person's way from running away, then you're chayiv. You did a ma'aser.
Right. Okay,
You blocked him.
But if you did nothing, you haven't called 911.
No, not chayiv. He may not be a nice person, but you're not chayiv.
So it is similar to the case.
Yeah. Anytime you don't do a ma'aser. Anytime you don't do a ma'aser, you can't be chayiv somebody. So says the Magen Avraham weiter. So he says that he argues in the Tizyantim. He says that anytime you open your door and you close it, there's a chicken inside. You're not chayiv. Hachanam ekei. The Rashi kosav the ein ze ela kishem rei letzvi shahayilem esmo. Rashi's lashon is that all you're doing is I'm continuing to watch the tzvi that I had yesterday. Rashi doesn't say because he didn't do any ma'aser. The Magen Avraham has been daik and Rashi like himself. Rashi says, all you're doing is you're watching the tzvi that's already captured. But I'm replacing him, so the Magen Avraham doesn't make a difference. Replacing doesn't mean mechayiv you. But nearly the Lashon of Ran at Isay, he says the Lashon of the Ran made the Taisis Yom to make a mistake. At Isay made him make a mistake. Why? Ayin Sham. Aber emes bo haran loimish afmish a moisiv shmira al shmira, so even though you're adding shmira, mutin. For kolshkin heicha she'ein moisiv klum, Pshita the mutter here, I'm not adding anything, I'm just replacing him. Of course it's mutter, the Sfila, the Ran, the Zela, Itzrach, Lashmina, Bamasetin, V'leimer, Halama, the Daimer. He goes through the whole Ran, let's not go through the whole Ran. Now, Masha Kosev, Shat Tzvi Kosher, here's also a Chiddush. If the Tzvi was tied up, or Bo Echad V'Noal, and someone came and locked the door, Mayri, he goes, Shalai Noal Adelas Adayin, which is Kosher, Tzvi B'Tzech, Ayin Sham. It says like this, if the Tzvi was tied up in the room, and someone comes and closes the door, they didn't do anything wrong. Why? Because the tzvi was already captured. But it's only that the tzvi was still tied. The tzvi gets untied, and then you close the door, now I'm capturing. Even though the tzvi never was a moment that he could leave the room, doesn't make a difference. It's a new type of capturing. Closing the door the first time is making a new type of capturing for the tzvi. Ben Yechayev. Kosev Magen Rishon, Kosev Ramban, Yosef al Pesach, Ola Yodesh Tzvi B'Toichoi. This is what we saw before the Bi'alacha. He sat by the door, you didn't know that there was a deer inside. V'achakach noydesh yesh sham tzvi, mutter lo leishev ad shetechshach, you're allowed to sit until at night. Why? Because there's a kodma, seder, lemachshava. That's the lashon of the Bi'alacha. Interesting, they medama this to a case of boirer. How do you have that? They say, what was the case again? The case of boirer is a beer loch, is a sharat siyah in senior test. Yeah, the loch is boirer, you're only allowed to do for miyad. You're not allowed to separate for right away. Right? So miyad, biyad. So I separate something for the meal I'm eating right now. And then there was leftovers. So now, what ends up that I separated something for the next meal. So is that usher or not? You have to make sure you finish everything by the meal that you're doing it. So they want to compare it to this. No, when I separated it, it was separated for this meal. Later on, that it's left over, so it's kadma machshava l'maisa. Maisa l'machshava, I mean, right away the maisa was for this meal. Now that it's left over, you can't say now it becomes a maisa boirer. It's a similar idea. For Rav Berkata Shabbat Yishami Nirish Amut Lino Lishma, basically the Mechudas like a Rashba, we don't pass like it, but the Rashba says, he is medayik from Yishami, Shamut Lino Lishma Beisai, Afapi Shayidei Kain Nitzait at Tzvi Memela, Shari. Mechudas like a Rashba, on this Mishnah, that he says, if I'm closing the door because I want to wash my house, there's stuff in my house that I want to wash. I'm leaving my house. There's an animal in my house. If I'm locking my door, I'm closing and locking my door, I don't want thieves to come in to steal my stuff in the house. Even though you know for sure that there's an animal in the house, says the Rashba, it's mutter. That's not called a ma'aser tzeder. Big chiddush of the Rashba. V'vashal yischaven lishmar hatzvi belvad. As long as you have a mind to only watch the tzvi. Ve'en l'hakol kolkach ad kal. So, Varan Hikshag, Gamkin al Rashba, the Psik ratio. It's a Psik ratio. You're right. You have a mind to close it to wash the kalim. But there's an animal inside. It's a psikration. You're going to capture the animal.
We had a similar case when we closed the window when it was cold. It was tsar, right? We said...
Yeah, but there was a psikration. We said it was a psikration. Right. But it was only a psikration, or could be, that's only in a case we can't get it b'shchiyachas. So it's already captured. Oh no, you can't get it b'shchiyachas. Right. So then when you close it, it's only nissa d'rabbanan.
And that mixed with tsar.
Yeah, psikration by d'rabbanan, but makam tsar to the tzat b'meichel. No, here it's a
psikration.
It's for the deraisa maybe. It's a deraisa. Why is it nichla? It's nichla. You want the animal there.
No, you want to close. We just said you want to close the door because you want to protect your valuables.
Yeah, but you also want the animal inside. It's your animal. Yeah. If it's a psikration, if you don't want the animal inside, it's psikration like nichla, then maybe you can make it.
Oh, so that's what I'm
saying. No, but the Rabbi says...
the animal's inside, but you don't care about the animal, you just...
That's a different channel. It's psikration like nichla. No, here the case is you want the animal. Says the Rabbi, it's not even a psikration. It's not considered a ma'aseh seder. We're chiddush in the Rashba. Ma'aseh seder means when I have a mind to capture the animal. If I don't have a mind to capture the animal, it's not even called a ma'aseh seder. We're chiddush in the Rashba, we're not passing like the Rashba.
So we're trying to understand it. I mean, the way they explain it, Shulchan Barim and others, is that there's two teitzos that come out of this action.
Right.
In other words, you're closing the door. Two things happen. One is that you are essentially getting warm. You want the door closed or valuable, and the other one is that you are trapping your animal.
Right.
So does that mean that according to the Rashba, anytime you come up with a psikration that has two outcomes, this is what he would say?
It doesn't mean that. No. You're looking at Shulchan Barim again.
That's what he says.
We did.
Shulchan Barim says, if I remember correctly, I haven't seen it in a while. If I remember correctly, Shulchan Barim says that...
then it's not considered a ma'aseh.
No. One second. The Shulchan Barim says... Give me a second, see if I can remember it. He compares it to Mlach and Tzrichal Gufa, do you know?
No. Talks about that.
Every psikration is two teitzos.
Why?
No, that's what it says. Now I remember what it says. Okay, it says the opposite. It says every psikration there's two teitzos, two different things happening. That's what he says, if I'm not mistaken. The opposite. Every psikration, there's two teitzos happening, A and B. So I'm doing two different ma'ases. Here is one ma'aseh happening. I'm watching the animal, I'm watching my kalim. It's one ma'aseh. I could tighten up that ma'aseh to watch the kalim.
Has one ma'aseh?
One ma'aseh with two outcomes. Two teitzos. No, the opposite. He says, if I'm not mistaken, the opposite. Every psikration has two teitzos. I'm taking the animal's head, and I want the head, and then I'm killing it. So the two teitzos are coming out. You're saying that I'm doing action A, action B also happens. I'm chai for action B. But if I'm doing one ma'aseh shmira for two things, I could direct my ma'aseh shmira towards one thing. Towards one thing. I think that's what he says. Every psikration, there's two different things happening. So I can't say direct my ma'aseh to A. The ma'aseh B also happening. It's automatically going to happen. I'm doing two ma'aseh. What do you
mean doing two ma'aseh?
I'm doing two ma'aseh. Let's say I'm slapping a bench, and for sure I'm going to make a charetz, right?
No,
so I'm slapping the bench. No, two outcomes. There's two outcomes. I'm slapping a bench and I'm making a hole. Two separate things.
That's not the. I don't understand. I mean,
here I'm doing one ma'aseh shmira.
That's.
It's one ma'aseh.
There's one ma'aseh and there's
two outcomes.
There's only one outcome.
No, I'm slapping the bench.
Yeah.
And I'm making a hole. Two things.
You're saying one of the outcomes is what? That you're moving bench.
I'm moving the bench, right? The second outcome is I'm making a hole. So making the hole, you can't say, well, I didn't do it. No, you're doing the second action also. But here I'm doing...
Psikration has two types.
No, but he's saying here not. Here they're both shmira. They're both shmira. I'm watching the animal, I'm watching the kalim. They're both a ma'aseh shmira. I could direct my ma'aseh shmira to the kalim and not to the animal. I think that's what he says. Check it up again. Check that again. If I'm wrong, let me know, please. If I'm right, you can let me know. Yeah, so something about custom the actual answer is by Shabbat. Kamachem and Hakem. Fine. Another lucky says here, the Magen Avraham, Nichnesa leitziper tachas knafov. A bird flew in under his clothing. Yeshiv Mishamrach Tekshach. You can sit there and watch it. You don't have to let it out. Why not? Because you didn't do a ma'aseh. You didn't do anything. Therefore, it's mutter. Another halacha the Magen Avraham brings down: mutter leftoyach habayit b'pnei hatzvi v'lefarkem b'mitzudosai b'vash lo yitatlenu. You're allowed to let an animal free. B'vash lo yitatlenu, that you shouldn't touch it. You're not allowed to touch animals. It's muktzah on Shabbos. What's the chiddush here, the Magen Avraham? You're allowed to let an animal free. What's the chiddush? You're not doing a ma'aseh seder. So what's this chiddush? You're allowed to let an animal free? Shkoyach, of course, why not? So the chiddush here is that every time you find a ma'aseh is asur, you're not allowed to sew. You're allowed to undo a sewing? Also not. Right?
So you're not allowed to go.
Right? Every halacha, chaysir, matir, taifir, kareya. Everything the opposite of the ma'aseh you're not allowed to do. Binyan, stira, siva, mechika.
Or 12 on the last to be to.
Oh yeah. So it says binyan and taisir. Stira is asur. So stira is asur.
How do you undo bishul?
You can't undo bishul. You can't undo a bishul.
What's the opposite of mekalkel?
Misakin.
So misak, but mekalkel is not asur.
No, but misakin is not malacha. Misakin is not malacha of misakin. Binyan and stira. So every time you have a malacha, to undo it is also asur. Now what are you going to say? No, to undo. If I have a binyan, right? You're saying a seisir is only amanas livnais. It's not true. If you have a building, you're not allowed to destroy it on Shabbos, even though you're not doing it for any reason. You're not doing it because you want to rebuild it. Mekalkel is seisir is asur. Seisir is an asur. The question is, with the rabbanon, a seisir that's a mekalkel, maybe it's only a rabbanon, but stira is asur. You're not allowed to destroy something on Shabbos.
So what? Seder and
Seder and undoing the Seder should be the same thing. Says the Magen Avraham, no. By undoing the Seder, you're not doing anything.
You're doing Maseh Tov.
Therefore it's mutter. Huh?
You're doing a good deed.
It depends what you have captured.
That's three.
Is there a discussion in the Gemara like that? Like they bring up a Havamina that...
Like Seder, no. No, I never saw it. I never saw it. Yeah, okay. I want to see Zion also, we're running out of time here. Siv Zion, Siv Ches, Siv Tes, and Siv Yud are basically, they're all tied together. I want to get started today, but we don't have time left. They're basically talking about killing animals on Shabbos, when it's tzarich, when it's sar, when it's good to see it well. And next we'll go through it. There's different levels. There's capturing an animal that's not running after you, capturing an animal that's running after you, you're killing an animal that's running after you, killing an animal that's not running after you, and then the different reasons why you would be allowed to. Either because those animals are very dangerous, those animals cause you pain, and they're uncomfortable. 3 different levels. So when you learn the next few sifim, keep that in mind. There's different levels. There's dangerous, that it could kill you, chas v'shalom. There's sar, it could cause you pain, and then there's uncomfortable. There's 3 different levels. We'll see them all next week.
Is this seder? You see a bug, and you put